What's good, Travel Hour family? It's your boy Joc, and I have my co-host Matthew. We're two young black professionals talking about our travel experience and sharing them with you all. So we appreciate y'all for tuning in. In episode 2 today, we're going to be talking about taking that PTO, making sure that you're not leaving that PTO on the table, and traveling the world to live your best life. So definitely tap in with us for episode 2. We definitely going to be dropping some gems today. See y'all over there.
What's good, everybody? This is your boy Matt, and I got my co-host here, Joc, my LB, my tail, and welcome to season 1, episode 2 of the Travel Hour. Listen, it's been a ride so far. But before I go any further, I want to check in. Joc, how you doing today?
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Joc tapping in, man. I'm feeling good, man. I'm excited. Here we are, season 2. Super excited to talk
Episode 2.
about everything, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, episode 2, not season 2, y'all. See, look, I'm trying to skip over the stuff, so
Don't
I'm
take
so
us too
excited,
fast.
man.
Don't
Look,
take us too fast. Look, we
hey,
gonna make it there. Don't take us too fast, though.
let's slow it down. Let's take it slow. So here we are, season 1, episode 2, man. I'm excited to be here, bro. Just a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to catch up on, and a lot of dope stuff to share today, man. So super excited to be here as well, bro.
Yeah, man. And we want to thank everybody. Thank everybody for your love, your support, for downloading the first episode of the Travel Hour. We really appreciate it. We wouldn't be here without you all support, and we just ask that you keep on supporting us. Right? You can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, just to name a few, even on Amazon Music. So go out, share the podcast with Pookie and them, with Ray and Nene, with your cousins, with your friends, your line brothers, your line sisters, your coworkers. Share the podcast with everybody because we want to get the word out. We really want to get more Black people traveling. And so help us, help y'all by bringing this content and sharing this content with the world, because this is only the beginning, and we're excited about where this is going to go. Yeah, man.
I mean, and I think like I'm super just like I just want to like just take a moment to like just express gratitude. You feel me?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
like it was only a few months ago where it was just conversations, and now these conversations involved in something much greater. And so, like, even we was talking, earlier this week about, the first episode and where people were tuning in from, man. Like, matter of fact, like Matt, let the people know where they tuning in from, man. Like,
listen, we saw California, we saw Florida, we saw New Jersey, saw Pennsylvania, Ohio. Listen, even Russia. We got somebody who downloaded from Russia. Now we don't know if it's the feds or not. They might be spying on us, but we appreciate their support too. So keep keep them coming. We got people downloading from quite a few places, and so yeah, we're trying to put your city on the map. That's what you need to do. Download and listen to our podcast so your city can be on the map. So when we come next episode, we can shout out your city for downloading the Travel Hour.
yeah, man. And shout out to North Carolina.
Oh
For
yeah,
our
definitely.
folks tuning in definitely from all over the state of North Carolina. Like, we appreciate y'all support. We love, saying North Carolina is a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
As one of my good friends like to say, North Carolina is the place where I became a man. I grew into manhood, right? And so many great memories at Shaw and Raleigh, just road tripping across North Carolina. So definitely shout out to just, our North Carolina family, but also shout out to just all of our Travel Hour family. Like, love y'all. And we really just, glad to see the support and hope that y'all continue to grow with us.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely appreciate the support. And don't stop. Don't let up. Keep that same energy for episode 1 that you're gonna have for episode 2, that you're gonna have for season 2, season 3, and so on. Keep the same energy. And just be on the lookout for, like Joc said last episode, this is not just a podcast, it's a movement. So just be on the lookout for things that we will be releasing. You might even have some trips that we might even be trying to plan for y'all. So just stay tuned. Just stay tuned and support the channel, share, and yeah, we're gonna go. It's only up from here. Man, Joc. So I know it's been a week and we got a lot to talk
Mm-hmm.
about, but you just got back from Puerto Rico, so I definitely want to hear about uh, your trip to Puerto Rico, how that was, what you learned, what you did, where you went, where you ate. So give us a little bit about Puerto Rico.
San Juan, Puerto Rico. But yeah, man. I heard like a little. It was not a little, but it was a band out there playing, and they were singing this song. Just got stuck in my head. So they that San Juan, Puerto Rico. But yeah, man, just got back from San Juan, bro. My first time going to San Juan, and I was thoroughly impressed, man. I really enjoyed myself. The vibes were great. It was a group trip as well. So the people that I went with had a great time. Shout out to my boy Ray Smith, man. If you ever in South Florida, check out the Lobster Trap. It's a black-owned lobster stand in Yellow Green Farmers Market with a trap-themed menu. And so, black folks, if you want to try some lobster rolls, go check my man Ray Smith out at the Lobster Trap. Some dope lobster, right? But no, my man, he coordinated this trip for us because we helped out with getting his restaurant started. And so he wanted to make sure that those who had a piece in laying the foundation were celebrating. And so he planned a trip for us to go to Puerto Rico. And he was
Oh,
like, hey, y'all, just get there. Just get there. You feel me? So,
yeah,
me, I love to travel. So I got the phone call
right.
like, hey, you just got to get to Puerto Rico.
Say
Start looking
less.
at flights. Let's get it.
Right, right. Don't tempt me with a good time. Just I told you all you gotta do is say let's, and I'm ready to go before you even get to go.
Hello. So man, I started look first. The first thing is first. I started looking up flights, and the flights were fairly inexpensive. I live in Fort Lauderdale, so I flew from Fort Lauderdale nonstop straight into San Juan, and that was I think round trip. The flight on JetBlue was about 140.
Oh yeah, you can't beat
Uh,
that.
yeah, so like it was a $140 round trip flight. I think I booked it probably not about a month and a half in advance, right? And so I do have a JetBlue credit card with them, and so with that, I was able to book the Blue Basic fare, which doesn't come with bags, but with the credit card, you get a free check bag. So I
Mhm.
was able to finesse that, and so 140 for the trip, round trip, and then a free check bag. I was good to go, and then I had a little backpack to carry on with me, right? Um, but yeah, just a little bit about Puerto Rico. It is a territory of the United States. But San Juan, and the city of San Juan is a super dope place. The country of Puerto Rico is still its own operating country and entity, has its own culture.
Mhm.
Even though you don't need a passport to enter the country, it's still an amazing place and dope people, right? So like, I'm talking about getting in, right? COVID-19 guidelines was super simple, right? So all we had to do was fill out this form. The form generates you like a QR code, and then inside the form you upload your vaccination card if you're a vaccinator, right? And so if you weren't vaccinated, you got to get a PCR test 3 days before you go, right? So that was simple. I uploaded my vaccination card. They took it. They gave me a QR code. We land in Puerto Rico. We get to the airport, which is a very nice airport as well.
Mhm.
All we do is walk through the line and scan the QR code and like have a good day, right?
Yeah.
So that was super simple. I will say this though, bro. Puerto Rico is very different in how they're going about handling the pandemic. They don't play. Look,
So they don't
we
play.
would
Uh-oh.
my vaccination card was tired by the end of this trip. When I tell you, like the restaurant, oh, vaccination card. Going to the bar, vaccination card.
So they want
Oh,
to
you
make sure
coming
you
to this?
good.
What? Pull your mask up. Like even if you're going down to like sit down at a restaurant, like you had to have your mask walking into the restaurant, and you
Mhm.
also had to put it on if you left the table. And they were very very strict about it. We're not playing. And so I was very appreciative of that because like people did really like take things seriously. And also like Puerto Rico's done a great job of handling the pandemic. They've actually had one of the highest vaccination rates. I think it's almost 80% for the entire island. And
Oh,
they haven't had as many deaths or breakouts over there. But you did have some folks protesting not to get the vaccine outside the governor's quarters. But it's cool.
gotcha. That sounds
So
like
as far as
California a
that, like
little bit.
man, look, coming from Florida and going to places like California and Puerto Rico, man, like it's different. You be like, I be like, man, I don't carry this vaccination card nowhere, but I'm gonna take it now.
Yeah,
And
that's
also,
what's up.
yeah, also like if you kind of like if you a person that you think you're gonna lose some stuff, take a picture of the vaccination card, and most places will accept that.
Mhm.
Just so you have it on, and in case you do lose it, at least you have that copy of it as well.
Oh, shout out to California for giving us the digital vaccination card. So I got my paper card that I keep in my car in the visor. Just laminated that today. But California sent us where we once you got your vaccination, they send you a link to your phone and you can add your vaccination card to your Apple Wallet or I don't know what Androids have, but whatever they got to, I'm sure they can add
Was it a Google Wallet?
it. Right, Google something. What is Android? Anywho,
Ooh, okay. Shout out to all
but
our folks. Shout out to all our Android users. Drop a clue.
right, shout out to y'all. We still waiting on y'all to see the light, but we got love for all y'all, Apple users and Android users alike.
Yeah, man. And so definitely got to speak about where we stayed at also because I think that makes a big deal, right?
Hmm.
So the group it was about a solid eight, I want to say, eight people
Okay.
traveling, and so um, it was a mix of women and men. And so with that being said, Ray did a great job of putting together. He rented out a compound, and I put some resources together, and so I got the link to the place where we stayed. But it was a super dope compound where it was like a main house in the front, and that
Hmm.
had one bedroom on the main floor with a full kitchen and living room. And then on the second floor, you had another three bedrooms and two bathrooms upstairs in the main house, right? Then you go downstairs, and there's a courtyard that leads to the backyard. And then there's another like small guest house which have four separate units, and they all have their own like little kitchenette and shower. So we all were able to like divvy up like that. It worked out really, really well. Like nobody was on top of each other. We had the AC booming. And then it was like a vibe too, because like everybody wanted to come together. We can go to the living room, kick it,
Hmm.
or we can go outside in the courtyard, just all come together. So like in the morning we wake up, pick our heads up, like, bro, you all right? You good? And just check on each other, make sure everybody was straight. So that worked out really well because, like, me, I'm particular, I know you probably like this too, but you talk more about it. I'm willing to pay for my comfort.
We pay. Look, I pay for convenience and I pay for comfort. So I'm right there with you, bro.
Yeah, man. So I got look. I need my own bed. I would love to have my own shower if I'm saying if able, but definitely need my own bed and a comfortable one at that. So that was super good. I love the place we stay. It really worked out well to us. Also, the place where we stay was actually located to a popping spot called La Placita. And La Placita is a cool place where it's like bars, restaurants on this street. And we stayed right around, we were walking distance from it, probably a couple of blocks. And so you go out there 7, 8 o'clock at night, like they got the music going, you got the live bands, you got the rooftop vibes going, you got full blown clubs, you got bars, you got restaurants.
Mhm.
So whatever vibe you on, if you just want to grab dinner, you can do that too. And the weather was perfect. And so that was super dope just being right there. So if we ever want to like go grab dinner and then like, hey, like we are, we old. So like we grab dinner and look, let's grab drinks after dinner because if I go in the house, I'm not coming back out.
Right. But whatever you do, don't forget your vaccination card at the house.
Dropping gems, dropping
Right.
gems. So yeah, that I think that worked out the best. Is being close to everything was super great location.
Mhm.
Even like Old San Juan, which is a great place to check out. That was only probably about a 10-minute Uber ride,
Okay.
which was super convenient. And there's another spot called Coronado Beach, and Coronado Beach was super close. It's probably like an 8-minute Uber ride.
Mhm.
So and the Ubers were fairly inexpensive. Like we were spending like $5, $6 on Ubers unless it started surging. So it wasn't too bad. So, great spot, great location. Speaking of location, things to know about Puerto Rico, right? Um, you can definitely tell the American influence. So, any store you can think of, like it's funny because like you'll see like boom, like authentic Puerto Rican restaurant, boom, 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 Starbucks. Authentic Puerto Rican
Okay.
restaurant, Little Tienda. Oh, boom, they're going Marshalls. I'm like Marshalls,
Right.
and then they got like Sam's Club, Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Like they got everything: Church's Chicken, Pizza Hut, Popeyes. So they got it all. And so it's just super funny. Like you're on this island, and then you just see like, boom, here go Popeyes, right? So I'm like, I didn't get to try it, but I was very, very curious. But I wanted to try other food while I was out there, man. Um, the other thing too, man, was that the prices, right? Because everybody wants to know what the prices look like. For the Caribbean, and when I talk about Caribbean, I'm talking about like Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic. Those Caribbean nations, compared to Puerto Rico is very expensive, but compared to the United States, Puerto Rico was a little cheaper than being in the United States.
Okay.
Like I can get like a full course meal for probably like 12 or 13 bucks, where like here in the States it might cost me like $18 to $20, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there still was a price difference, but certain things it was like, okay, like we not getting no deal, and that's okay. The other thing I liked about Puerto Rico too is that a lot of people were bilingual. So most folks spoke English and Spanish fluently, and so that was super helpful getting around and stuff like that. Also got a chance to work on my Spanish. Some of my Uber drivers weren't as fluent in English, and I, try to work on my Spanish. So that was a super dope experience. The weather was great, as I said before, and then one of the things I do talk about this is that gotta have your backpack. So,
Yep.
bro, the rain be coming from nowhere.
Get that good old poncho.
So look, man, we out there, right? And we went to like the Fort Castillo, and it's right on the water, right, bro? And so we're at the fort. People out there flying kites. The pictures are amazing. The water is so blue. You see the palm trees just waving in the distance. And then we turn around and rain clouds.
Dang.
So we looked, we know what's coming. But I got my backpack.
Right.
So
right.
Like, everybody started scattering like roaches. I'm walking. It was, why you so calm? I just threw my little bucket hat on. It got the rain in. My shirt got soaked. I stepped off and changed my shirt to my dry fit, put that on. And so I was ready to rope around too. Everybody else looking like, man, we ready to go home. So I was like, when you travel, keep your little backpack with you. Tell them about the backpack, Matt.
The backpack. Oh yeah, you gotta get you a backpack. You gotta have everything you need in that backpack. Listen, you need the backpack. So I'm actually in the market looking for a new backpack, right? A travel backpack, something that I can put stuff in and put under the seat comfortably without me not necessarily feeling like I'm gonna catch a cramp in my leg because the backpack is taking up more space than leg room that I got. But yeah, you need a backpack. You gotta have everything. You never know what's going to happen, right? While you are traveling, just like Joc said, you gotta make sure you come prepared. What they always say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yes,
And
sir.
with a good backpack, with a good backpack, I mean, and a second backpack, because you don't want to take that big backpack and carry it around the city or the country, wherever, but you want to take another backpack, pack another backpack, a smaller backpack, so that way you can take out items for the day. So that way, if something just like if rain come out of nowhere, you good. If somebody gets sick, you got some Tylenol or something in your bag. You eat something because you're out there trying to experiment with all the local dishes, and your stomach get a bubbly. You need some Pepto Bismol, some Tums, or something. And it's good to have a book bag, a backpack with you that you carry that's not going to take up a lot of space, but also is able to hold everything that you need. So yeah, I'm in the market again. Like I said, looking for a new backpack so I can travel with. So I'm ready.
Yeah, man, that backpack saved my life because especially in rainy season, being in the Caribbean, man, like that rain will come out of nowhere. And of course it'll dry up, but it's gonna rain for like 15 minutes. It's gonna pour down.
And when it
And so that
rains,
really
it
helped
like
out,
rains. It's like the sky. The
bruh.
sky literally fell from up under the clouds. I don't know. It's horrible.
Yeah, man. So I think that's one of the biggest things is like that backpack saved me. If people was looking around, also, always keep your Bluetooth speaker in the backpack.
Definitely.
You never know what the turnover gonna be at, or you can be the vibe. You feel me?
Right. You the vibe check. Look, you don't like what's going on, pull out that speaker. There's been many times when I've gone on vacations and we gone to like the beach or something, or to like a restaurant where we're in our own little secluded area. Go and pull out that speaker and create your own fun.
And I like to keep a little flask in mind because I can't just keep, I gotta keep going when I'm
right.
out.
Speaking of flask. Speaking of flasks, were there any local drinks that you tried that you recommend? And we gonna go to Puerto Rico? Was it like just like if I go to Puerto Rico, I go to San Juan, you got to try this drink?
Yeah. So the pina colada, everybody was drinking those. I don't do sugary drinks, so I did not have one. But everybody that was there had one and said they were super good, super fresh. Don Q is a rum that's local to Puerto Rico, and so a lot of people are drinking rum. The other thing too is like they had everything we have here, so Tito's, any type of tequila you want. And so they got everything you want, man. It's very similar, and their club scene is very much influenced by the mainland. And so you can definitely see it in the music. You can see it in the drinks. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody drinks tequila. They got everything you need. So it was cool to see that as well. And speaking of drinking, to get our nerves together, one of the things that we did was kind of the pinnacle of the trip was going to Toro Verde, which means Green Bull. And this is a zip lining park about an hour outside of San Juan up in the mountains. And bro, when I tell you like some of the most scenic views I've ever seen, man, beautiful. But it's actually home to one of the longest and biggest zip lines in the Caribbean. They have this thing called the Beast and the Monster. And it was the Beast and the Monster. Thank God I was overweight and could not get on. So I watched from afar, took some videos.
But next time,
But
you're gonna be able to get on that on the zip line.
I pray to God, because the weight limit was 270, so I'll make sure I do not get under 270. That's what I would say.
Well, I'm gonna get up under 270 because I'm gonna get on it.
Yeah, you can purchase the GoPro from them too. They let you rent the GoPro while you go down.
Oh yeah,
so you can
that's
do all
even
that.
Better. Yep.
So I'm gonna live directly. I'm gonna live vicariously through you. But if y'all Travelhourljm family, if y'all are curious about what this looks like, just go on YouTube and look up Toro Verde. And you will definitely see videos of folks going through the damn rainforest and clouds and through the mountains face first on the zip line. So definitely check it out. But I will say this, man. Puerto Rico was a vibe. And one thing I will say is that they love Black people. We all come from the motherland in some way. And how brown and Black folks got to these islands wasn't by mistake. It was through the transatlantic slave trade. And so our enslaved ancestors, you can just feel the energy and the vibe. Shout out to Carmelo Anthony, man. He built a basketball court in a little community called La Paella. And La Paella was historically a place where formerly enslaved Africans were not to live inside the walled city. So they built a city right on the water and inside the rocks pretty much. And so, of course, it became prime real estate over time. And the folks tried to come in and take it from them, and they fought back, kept the community. And now, like folks like Carmelo Anthony and the government have started pushing money to them to beautify the community. And Carmelo also built a basketball court there, man. It was super dope. Make sure y'all follow us on the gram because we're documenting all these experiences. And so definitely was able to share that on the Instagram story. But it was just super dope being down. So shout out to Melo. Shout out to the Boricas. It was a dope vibe, man. Definitely give Puerto Rico a 4 out of 5, man.
Dope. I'm looking forward to going, and I hope those who are listening or watching, listen, go ahead and plan that trip to Puerto Rico, to San Juan. There's a lot to do, and we want you all to experience that as well. So I'm excited. I'm going to see how I can squeeze that in there, maybe this summer or next March. But I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make it work.
San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Right, so I can get down there and. I don't know how to sauce it, but I know how to play the part. Look,
hey, this is the abbreviated 2-step with a little bit of
right,
you feel me?
Right. Just but we're gonna get it. Listen, that's dope, man. I'm glad you had a great trip. I'm glad you were able to document it. If you missed it on our Instagram story, it's on the highlight. Go check out all the places that Joc went to while he was there in San Juan. You can just get a glimpse, right, of what he spoke about today and his experience there. So definitely glad you had a great trip and that you had a great experience. But man, what's going on in the world? I mean, it's so much going on, but what's going on? Let us know what's going on, bro.
Ooh, what's going on in the world? It's a lot going on, brother. Did you hear about the snakes on the plane?
I heard about the movie, but
yeah, I ain't talking about Samuel L.
Oh man. Wait a minute, bro. Snakes on the plane. Reptile. What's going on?
Good brother. So, as I'm scrolling through my timeline, I see something about snakes on the plane. I said, Lord, I don't do, most Black folks, we don't do snakes. We do reptiles.
I don't do nothing that got scales, looks demonic. No, I don't do snakes.
I don't, like, if I watch anything with snakes in it, like, I can't go to sleep that night. Like I'm looking under the bed. If I hear anything, I'm like this, like hold on, what's that? So I don't really do snakes. But apparently on an Asian airline, the flight was outbound, and they were well into the flight. And one of the passengers looks up because they hear some rattling noise in the light panel above their seat. And lo and behold, there's a snake slithering through the light.
Nah. I feel a good Samuel L. Jackson coming. I'm tired of these snakes on this plane. It's too close to say that. I can't say the words I want to say. But I couldn't even imagine, like, if I was to look up. First of all, if I'm sitting in my seat and I'm hearing noise. First of all, the first thing I'm saying, well, they ain't say we was experiencing no decrease in cabin pressure. So why is the mask trying to fall out? And then I look up, and it's a snake slithering through the. Nah, bro. Nah, get me off this plane. First of all, how did snake get in there? Who is transporting snakes? Who is transporting snakes? Who got some snakes being flown across the country, across the world? How did the snake get on there?
That's how Corona got here. Shit, y'all doing stuff like this. Like we trying to you can't transport no damn animals. That's you trying to transport a snake. Like you better find somebody to babysit the damn snake and keep it at the house.
Right.
But I don't. You know what? Like, would you? I just couldn't. You know what? That's why it couldn't have been a Spirit Airlines flight on the way to Miami. I'm gonna put it like
that. First of all, ain't nobody gonna pay to put no snakes on the plane with Spirit.
Ooh, they would have diverted that flight because we gonna cut up.
They would have canceled the flight. Sorry, flight is postponed until tomorrow. It definitely couldn't have been no. Nah, that thing. Yeah, we would have had a fit because first we don't do, like you said, we don't do snakes, we don't do reptiles. Nah, I couldn't do it. Well, hopefully they got that issue resolved, and then we're able to get that snake off the plane.
Well, according to the article, they made it to their destination. Nobody was harmed, and the snake was not harmed. So I guess it turned out good for everybody. Because we would have got get Lisa now. Get Lisa now.
Right. Who got a shovel?
Listen. Either two things. One or two things were gonna happen. We were gonna try to get that snake, or all of us would have been in the back of the plane.
Listen. now we're gonna stay back here. Y'all just land the plane safely. Listen, we ain't coming back to our seats because the snake up there.
They love to hit you. Well, we gotta balance the weight of the plane. Figure it out.
Right. Say, try me. Try Jesus. Don't try me, because not with the snake on board, because we ain't gonna have it.
Nah, I'm good on the snakes, bro. But I'm glad that everybody was safe. Nobody was harmed. I think that's
including the snake.
Look, we about to get Peter gonna snatch us off the air, man. We gotta chill.
We love all God's wonderful creatures. We just don't want them flying with us. So shout out to the snake. I don't even know if the snake had a name, but shout out to that snake. I guess he was wanting to go on vacation too. So hopefully he made it and had the time of his life while he was on vacation.
Yeah, but and on a serious note, man, there's a lot going on in the world. Of course, outside is about to open up. It is. It is here.
Hello. Oh yeah, it's outside. It's calling me. Outside calling.
Talk to him. So yeah, outside is opening back up, y'all. I'm trying to tell y'all. So get ready. There's the CDC and the FDA. We're looking at. I'm sorry, the FAA. We're looking at lifting the mask mandate, the federal mask mandate that's in place in airports, right? And so it has been extended multiple times. It was supposed to come down March 18th, right? And so a lot of folks are trying to figure out, like, hey, like, if airports, because the TSA and the FAA are over the airports, if they come to an agreement and say, hey, like, we're not going to require masks anymore in airports, but then individual airlines can still require masks on their flights, it's going to cause a lot of confusion. And one of the things they said was like, look, bro, at the end of the day, like, we've got to figure out a plan before we peel back the mandate, right? So they have extended it another month. the mask mandate. We'll be wearing masks on flights for at least until April, until late April, and so that's where we're at right now. I don't know, like, as the CDC says, we're moving forward and things like that. I guess we got to see how this is going to look, man. I mean,
Yeah.
at this thing, I think at this point, I think we just learned to be like super flexible as far as what's going on, right?
Yeah, because they can say something now, and then next week they say, "Oh well, we changed our minds. Y'all ain't gonna need no mask come March 18th." So yeah, we definitely COVID has definitely taught us how to be flexible and just go with the as the president of my college to where I work at Semper Gumby, meaning everything is flexible and fluid and never changing. So yeah, man.
Okay,
But I'll be
tell
glad.
us your age.
Right, right. Because I didn't know what it was, but she knew what it was. But I'll be glad when we don't have to wear masks. I know even so, California just recently, well, LA County just recently uh took, I guess, rescinded their mask mandate, but it's still kind of like weird because I go in places and I'm so used to having my mask on, and so like when I don't have it on, I feel like I'm still breaking the rules. But okay, I'm vaccinated and I'm boosted, but still, I ain't quite made it to the point where I'm able to go to the grocery store without my mask. But I have, which is stupid, but I've gone to the gym and not worn my mask. And let me tell you, what a difference that makes. Trying to work out with that mask and
Mm-hmm.
not having that mask on. Listen, I was in there about to die with that mask on. I'm on the elliptical about to fall over and up there on the weights trying to with the mask on. So I'm glad, and I can go either way, right? If y'all say we need to wear it, I'll put my mask on. If you say if you vaccinated, you don't have to wear it. Okay, appreciate it. I'll use my good judgment. So
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, though. We're moving towards the endemic, and the world is moving towards the endemic. The country's moving towards the endemic, and that doesn't mean like, hey, like it's just a free for all. But what it is saying is like, hey, like we're a lot further than we were 2 years ago, right? We know that hand washing, we know that mask wearing, and vaccines, which we all have access to in this country, is going to help us to eliminate the spread, right? And so
right.
now it's like, saying moving towards trying to live with it. And I'll be like
Mhm.
very, very transparent, man. Like when I was in Puerto Rico. I was, in places where I would take my mask off. And
Mhm.
so like a lot of the venues were indoor, outdoor venues. So it was a lot of air flowing through. I was vaccinated. And then also when I got back, I also used one of the rapid tests from the government and took that when I got back just to make sure I was straight and it came back negative. So
Definitely.
definitely just, use your best judgment and make your call. But like we are moving towards definitely the endemic phase.
Mhm. Dope. Dope. Let's
Yeah,
talk.
man. And
Go ahead, bro.
no, you're good, man. But yeah, speaking of endemic, I have one more thing to say what's going on in the world. But a lot of countries are now moving towards easing their restrictions to get into certain countries, man. Um, two places that are still holding pretty tight with strict mandates is going to be Hawaii and Costa Rica. Currently, like if you go to Hawaii, there's a mandatory 5-day quarantine, and so Hawaii is also looking to remove the quarantine but make folks get tested when they come in, no matter
Gotcha.
what the vaccination status is.
Mhm.
Costa Rica, you can come in if you're unvaccinated, but you have to have health insurance if you're unvaccinated, and then you also, I believe, you need to take a test. But this stuff changes every day. Most of the countries in the Central and South America and the Caribbean are easing restrictions. Europe is even starting to ease restrictions as well. So, like Italy is looking at, we might be able to get into Italy. We'll just have showing proof of vaccination, and
Yeah.
so fingers crossed because we get ready to head to that side of the world pretty soon, man. So hopefully we can get in. I'm saying with less paperwork and things like that. Since we are
Mhm.
vaccinated and things like that, man.
Dope.
So that's what's
Dope.
really going on in the world, man. There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
Outside is
man.
coming open.
It's opening back up, and I'm glad to see it. I mean, it's been a long 2 years. I mean, it's been some goods, it's been some bads, been some highs, been some lows, but I'm actually excited to see things starting to open back up again, and to see people becoming more active and being outside. Because I was driving home the other day, and I was like, you would have thought it was in the middle of the summer the way these people was outside walking their dogs and all this other stuff. So it was definitely good to see that happen again. And people being friendly again and not scared to talk to anybody because they're afraid about getting sick. So yeah, it's good to see people smile. That's one thing. Like, we've all learned how to smile with our eyes during this pandemic, but it's actually good to see. And I feel like I hear better when I see people talking. So that might just be a me thing and getting older, but I feel like that helps when I can actually see you speaking to me, because I don't know what it is. I just hear better.
Hey, it's something about that interaction, man. Like definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, man. Uh, Speaking of the jet fuel prices, taking all these trips, let's get into why we really here today, right? So the title of today's episode is "Take That Time Off," right? And
Ooh.
you heard from Jump. Our whole purpose is to encourage you to use that PTO that you work so hard to accrue, right? Use that time off. Go take a trip, do a staycation, go to a silent retreat, whatever you need to do. Take that time off and experience the world, right? I was reading an article, and it was saying that about 55% of Americans don't use all of their PTO, right? Um, and American workers, they fail to use 768 million days of PTO. And this was in 2018, right before, not too long before 2019 was done, at. But yeah, so this is the latest data that I could find. But yeah, 55% of Americans don't use all of their PTO. Americans left an average of 6.5 unused PTO days in 2018, and 63% of employees said they turned down a job offer if they didn't include PTO. But the thing is, you get a job that's offering PTO and you're still not using it. You're still not using the PTO, right? And we work so hard to accrue this time, right? And it's getting to the point now where other countries are starting to say that America is like a no vacation country, a no vacation nation, because they don't really do right by their employees when it comes to paid days off. Look, the Washington Post, they posted an article saying that France, listen, it's some places like over in Europe, but France in
Mm-hmm.
particular, they get 30 days of PTO, and that's not even
A month.
including uh, and that's not even including paid holidays. And then shortly behind them, you got, I want to say it was the UK, which mandates 28 days of PTO, and then Austria, Denmark, Finland, Norway, Spain, and Sweden. So you have to give your employees at least 25 days of PTO. And so let's get into it. Like, why are these people not taking the PTO? Right? Is there is it, they have worked hard because our jobs work us very
Mm-hmm.
hard, and we earn that time, but yet it's still a little difficult for people to kind of sneak away from that job, right? And so, listen, take the time off. I promise you, they will not miss you as much as you think they may. I promise you that the job, the organization, wherever you work, they can miss you for a couple of days. They will survive. But we'll rather you take that PTO than you end up being burnt out, stressed out, having anxiety, all of these things, because you need a break. You need to recharge. You need to rest. You need to get away. Take that PTO,
Mm-hmm.
bro. Take that PTO. Y'all, take that PTO. Listen, I don't take it. And if you ain't got PTO and you and accruing you working up sick days, use that sick time. Listen, right. I know in California they can't. It's against the law for them to ask you if you to ask them ask you to provide proof that you were sick, that you were in the hospital, and use them sick days and take that trip.
Yeah, and you don't have to like go and like explain. Like you be like, hey, I'm going to use a sick day today.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
And
point
it's
blank period.
retro.
Like
You can
that's
do
your
it
sick day.
after the fact.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man. So why do you think like people are not taking that time off?
I think that's a great question, and I want to even go deeper, right? Because I think
Mm-hmm.
it's at the end of the day, like I want to go to the root and not just touch the surface, right?
Right,
Like
right.
why do you think that as black people, as black working people, as black folks out here in our careers and doing our things, why do you think that we don't take PTO? I want to hear from you, bro.
I think I think we've been, I don't want to say conditioned, but we worked so hard, right? Um, and it was all about, because we got to work 2 times hard, we got to show up, we got to overperform. And I think in the midst of doing all of that, we neglected ourselves, right? Taking the time out for ourselves, for our families, and all the other things that come with life outside of working, right? Because the job is, we're going to be working for the rest of our lives, right? Whether it be a 9 to 5, whether it be you finally get that retirement that you work towards. But I think it boils down to how we've been conditioned, right? You hear like our grandparents and our parents, those who are older than us, they brag about how many PTO days they got. Like it's a badge of honor. Like I got X amount of days in PTO. And sometimes I remember one time when we was at Shaw, one of the persons that worked there had talked about how much PTO time she had. She's like, well, I got plenty of time. I got like 2 years worth of PTO. Why are you not going anywhere? Even if you just going and you just sitting at the house, or taking going and booking yourself a room in a hotel for a night or two. Why are we not using that time? So I think that's some of the reasons. I mean, I know you and I, we are privileged in a sense because we're not married, we don't have any kids, and so we don't have some of the obligations that some of our peers or our colleagues may have. But I think we gotta get it out of that mode of just like work, 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 and work, enjoy, come back and work some more, enjoy, take a break, breathe, de-stress,
Mm-hmm.
and use that time that you working so hard for, right? You work really hard to get that time. Take it.
That's facts, bro. I'm glad you laid that out because I think we owe it to ourselves, and sometimes we get sucked into this trap where it's like I gotta overperform just to get half of what they got, and
Mm-hmm.
if I mess this up, then it looks bad on my whole race, right?
Right.
So it's like I have living with this expectation of being perfect, is an unrealistic expectation, and I'm glad that we as black millennials are really like fighting to change that way of thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I can think about like, growing up in Ohio, like all we know is hard work. In the Midwest,
Yeah.
like my grandfather left Georgia, rural Georgia, to come to Cleveland, Ohio, to work in a factory, and work 40, 50 plus years and retire, and 10 years later you dead
Yeah.
because you work to provide for your family. You never took time for yourself, and here you are. After it's time to enjoy the golden years of life, and your life is cut short. Heart disease is still the number one killer out here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm what I'm saying, stress adds to that, and so just like I believe that our forefathers, our grandfathers, our grandparents, our grandmas, they didn't clean them, scrubbing up floors and tables and things like that to put us in a position where it's like, hey, like it's okay, go do this for you, right? And when I say like do it for yourself unapologetically, it's not necessarily going to be easy. It is
Yeah.
very hard to tell people no. Like that shit is hard. Um, but the more you do it, the better you get at it, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
setting boundaries, like, hey, like when I'm out of the office, please do not contact me about work because I am out of the office, unless it is
Right.
an emergency. And if there is an emergency, I'm going to designate somebody for you to contact, right? Like I used to tell my students all the time when I worked in higher ed, if it is an emergency, call 911. Don't call me. I can't help you. You know, if it's that kind of emergency. Otherwise, then it can wait, and we will handle it when I'm back in the office. And so
Right.
that's kind of how I look at things as well.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a good point when you talked about working 40, 50 years, and then after that, after you retire, you got a good 10 in you, and then you out of here. But studies show that traveling enhances your quality of life, right? And it enhances it. And I mean I can only speak from my experience. I know traveling for me, right, it's been therapeutic, it's been uh educational, it's been all of these things. And I'm the better because of it, right? And I think, looking back at our parents' generation and our grandparents' generation, traveling, it wasn't a thing, right? I know I was having a conversation with my mom, and I was asking her one time, like, where is one place that um you want to go, that you would want to go? And she's told me that she never really had a desire to leave the country, but if she were to go somewhere, maybe Hawaii, right? And so we also have to look at too. They didn't think that travel was obtainable for them, right? Unless you were like, a celebrity, big time in music or something like that. Traveling wasn't like the thing, unless you was going back down south to see your relatives or going to a family reunion or them coming up north to see you. Outside of that, that was our travel. But even still, we gotta kind of shift some things right now that traveling is becoming more obtainable. And I think that more Black millennials and more Black professionals are striving towards traveling more. We still got some work to do. We still got some more encouraging of to do for these young professionals out here who, I know you want to grind. We want you to grind, and we want you to make it to the top, but we also don't want you to burn out. We don't want you to get there, and then you like you have all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, right? I saw a quote today. It was like, travel while you're young, right? Young and able. Don't wait till you're old to travel, because what you want to do now at 20 and 30 years old, you may not physically be able to do at 40 and 50 and 60. And so you got to use that time. Take that time off. Use that PTO. Let them, let the job be the job. And if you are the lead, hopefully you have trained them up enough that they can still function with you not there for a couple of days. And so I think that's kind of where I'm at. And I also just want to speak to, since I'm in the church where I was telling Chuck the other day, like, even with people who are active in church, whether you the pastor, whether you the musician, whether you the singer, the praise and worship, whatever it is, you too need to take some of that time off. If you don't have a contract where you have an agreement with whatever church that you're in, that you get like 2 weeks, 4 weeks paid vacation, you might need to reconsider and renegotiate your contract, because this, I saw a quote the other day. It said the church will kill you and cry at your funeral. They will use you up. And you die, they're gonna come, have a nice little funeral, put you in the ground, ash to ashes, dust to dust, go back to church, eat some good old funeral chicken, and be on to the next, whoever your replacement is, right? So listen, take that time off. Whether you in corporate, whether you in higher ed, whether you in 9-to-5 entrepreneur, working in church, you got to take that time off. Invest in yourself. Take the time off for you, if nobody else.
Yeah, I think in America, like, we really just have this grind mentality. No sleep. And it's just like the badge of honor. It's just like, bro, like, I'm going to sleep. I'm not working 24/7. And if I got to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to be successful or be a millionaire, then I don't want to be a millionaire. It's cool. Like, y'all can have that, but I'm going to bed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I think, like, we really got to be, like, realistic with, like,
quality of life can still be good, and we can still work hard and get the things that we want at the same time, right? And so I think a lot of times, like, we're guilt tripping into that. Speaking of which, though, I came across this article, man, and it talked about the 7 main reasons why people don't travel.
Let's hear 'em.
And I want to go. I want to go through them one by one and kind of break them down. You know, I want to debunk these things because hey, ain't nobody got an excuse like a black person, boy. We gonna come up with something. Hey, man.
We gonna find it. Look, we know how to talk our way out of anything.
You ever ask somebody for a jump? Like, hey man, you jump? Hey man, that's gonna mess up my carburetor. They don't even have carburetors in cars no more, bro. What you mean?
Right. See, my battery's wired to my tank, and if I give you a jump, then I'm gonna run out of all my gas. No, bro, just tell the truth. You don't want help, or you ain't got no cables in your car. You know, but let's see these reasons, bro.
So number one, and this I hear this a lot. I'm way too busy. What you think about that when folks say, like, I'm just too busy to travel?
I think people find time to do what they want to do. Right? I think sometimes it's funny because I was just saying this the other day. Just because you're active doesn't necessarily mean that you are making progress. Some people just busy just to be busy, and they need to go revisit what's making them so busy, right? Because, you know, some of that stuff can probably be removed and taken out, and you can carve in some time to travel, right? But some people just like to be busy just to say that they're busy. Some people may be busy, right? But I don't think that that's a reason that should hold you back, right? Because we all busy. Listen, you busy, I'm busy. The president be busy, but even they find time to vacation.
Busy raising their gas prices.
Right, listen. Even though that ain't got nothing to do with the president, I don't want nobody coming for us.
It don't. It sounds good though.
It sounds real good. Yeah. But you got to think. Like, I was even listening. Like, I went out with one of my friends last night to grab a drink and something to eat. And she was saying that she has a friend that's a doctor, and he does like 6 weeks on and then takes 2 weeks off. I think it's all about prioritizing time to travel or to rest. I'm big on rest because we got a lot of people out here who are just simply burnt out. And so you may not necessarily want to go through the hustle and bustle of getting on a plane and getting COVID tests and all these other things, but go hop in your car, drive to the next city over. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. I'm gonna take it back. When we go back to when our ancestors were here, right? When things would go down on the plantation, bro, our response was the next day we gotta get up and go work.
Yep.
And what that became was a mechanism not to deal with ourselves. One thing we don't like to do is sit with ourselves. And that one thing that's what the pandemic taught me is, like, you're gonna have to learn how to sit down with yourself and figure out who the hell you are. And I think a lot of times we see it all the time. A family member passes away, I'm going back to work. I'm gonna go back to work because that's all I know, right? And it's like we use it as a mechanism. Like, I have to be at work, and that's how we don't deal with the trauma. We don't deal with the pain, and we don't really like be in tune with ourselves because it forces us to really like uproot some of these things, right? And so when we talk about travel, like, every trip don't have to be a turn-up trip. Like, sometimes you need to go drive up the road and sit your ass down somewhere for a weekend, right? Don't do nothing. Turn the damn. Let people know where the hell you at, but turn the damn phone off and just sit with your damn self. And, you know, go get a massage. Go hop in the jacuzzi. You know what I'm saying? Just go look at something scenic. Go to a park. Do a hike. You know, everything got to be the turn up. And so sometimes we got to learn how to just sit with ourselves. And that's okay.
It definitely is. It's definitely okay. Yeah, so we can't. I think we just got to prioritize, right? Take that time out. I know life is very busy, and we can always find something to consume. Like you said, we can always find something to consume our time. but we gotta learn how to be able to sit with ourselves. We gotta learn how to, introduce you to the real you, right? When you take the time to sit with yourself, you're gonna see the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you gotta be okay. You gotta learn how to cope with that, right? But I think I got my thought now. It had left me for a quick second.
Come on, thought.
But people use work, like you were saying, like after a family member died, our first instinct, after something tragic happened, our first instinct is to go back to work, right? And when we look at from a psychology perspective, granted, I'm not a psychologist, I took a course in college, but there's this thing called numbing behaviors, right? Things that help you not pay attention to what's really going on in your life, right? Whether it be dealing with grief, whether it be addiction, whether it be whatever it may, it's called numbing behavior. And I think some of us treat work as a numbing behavior, because as long as I'm at work, I don't have to deal with what's really going on. As long as I'm at work, I don't have to, grieve. I don't have to think about Big Mama dying and Grandpa leaving. So I think work sometimes can become a numbing behavior for some of us.
Definitely, bro. And I think that you definitely dropped some gems today, bro. Number 2, though, this the one right here, because I sent. I don't know if you saw the reel I sent from Instagram about the dudes that was about to take the trip. So,
I
bro, we
saw
don't never
that. so y'all ain't going to Dubai?
Like, yeah, let's go. Here we go. So number 2, traveling is too expensive.
Crickets.
And that's why we're here, though. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Because traveling can be expensive. It very much can.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely ways to combat and mitigate prices. Definitely some ways to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
So I would say, first and foremost, I think we just got to plan in advance, especially if you're traveling internationally, and also if you're traveling to like a destination place domestically, right? Like if you go to Vegas and 4th of July weekend and you try to book it in June, you're going to pay book it in June going to 4th of July for Vegas prices.
Listen, you want to book that to July before if you're trying to go during July 4th, the way Vegas be set up sometimes. But yeah, it does require planning, right? It reminds me of the 12 P's. Well, we're going to say the 6 P's. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance, right? So if you take the time to plan out, right, and be strategic, I can't say that word today. Strategic, there we go. On how you want to map this out. Set yourself deadlines, like by this date, I'm gonna put this amount of money to the side, or I'm gonna pay this amount of money on my trip. Because like traveling can be very expensive depending on where you go and how lavish and how luxurious you want it to be. But at the same time, it can be very obtainable, right? We spend more money on, clothes and sneakers and stuff than you could. By the time you add all that up together, you done paid about 4 or 5 trips.
Easily.
And so I think it's just about, it go back to priorities, right? Like if you want to take this trip, first of all, do your research, where you want to go, how much it's going to cost, and just start putting money to the side, saving it. That's the problem. The real problem is we don't know how to save money.
Yeah, and it's like, I think that's super smart. Like saving is great. Having credit cards is great too, because you want to lock in a good flight price, right?
As long as you know how to use it, you're responsible. Be responsible with using your credit card, though.
But look, you get that shit and you pay it off. Like don't start going try to act like you just running up, because they gonna come after their money back now. So like
they're gonna come. Listen, they adamant too. They will call until you make that payment.
Right, and stop. If you're going to do a trip, solo travel is very different from group travel. And I think people have unrealistic expectations about group travel based on their experiences, right? Because our experiences aren't everybody's experiences, right?
Right.
You can't travel with a group everywhere. It's some people that you're going to have to take them up the street. Like my North Carolina family, like it's some folks they're going to just go to Charlotte for the weekend, and that's okay. Because when you ask them to go book a flight out the country, they lost. Or I gotta pay $300 for a flight, but you'll pay $300 to go to Vegas though.
You gonna pay more to go to Vegas,
right? That's what I'm saying. Like everybody want to come to Miami and get on a boat. A boat for 4 hours in Miami is gonna run you about $1,200. A private boat rental. I went to Colombia and got a boat rental for the whole damn day. I had to tell them folks, take us back. We done. That was $400 from 8 to 5, and they were still ready to go to 6. So it's just like you got to know like where you want to go. Like if you know you got a group of friends that you want to travel with, and they don't have that much travel experience, the first trip may not be Dubai. Unless you have like a travel agent putting that together for you, but still, like you don't want to take that long of a flight across the pond. Some folks who haven't like it's traveled that much. Yeah. So it's really like understanding: is it a solo trip? Is it a group trip? And if it is a group trip, where we're going, and then and you can do it vice versa. Based off the group, you should start formulating like places that will be easy for everybody to get to, like relatively for a decent price. And then also understand like, are these people when they get there going to be willing to have the experience, right? Because don't bring your ass around me talking about chicken fingers and fries once we get over there. You could have ate that shit in the States.
Don't come to vacation with me if you want to sleep, because I don't sleep on vacation. Look, I know we're getting older, so maybe a nap here and there may be more acceptable. But if you're trying to say, if you talking about I'm tired by 7 o'clock, I don't know. We might have to let you sit out this trip and we'll go do something when we go like to something a little more laid back.
You got to learn where to squeeze your cat naps in. Like when you come back from the excursion, y'all all in the van, take your ass to sleep real quick,
Right. After you done did all that day drinking, it's time for you to change over into your evening time attire, whatever. Catch you a nap then while everybody in their room, because 9 times out of 10, everybody sat down or laid down right quick to try to rejuvenate and recuperate. So you gotta learn how to get them cat naps in.
What about number 3? They said I'm paying back student loans. I ain't heard that one before, but I'll tell you like this. Go ahead,
haven't heard of that one either. I haven't heard of that one, and I can't relate just yet. Give me a couple of months because they're gonna come knocking on my door. But I don't know. I don't know if that's a good one. I don't know if that's a good excuse. Because most people end up paying on student loans for years. Like, you gotta pay your rent and your light bill every month. You pay for all them streaming services every month, your internet every month. What's different? I mean, I know the student loan may be a little bit more, but let's see.
And Joe and Kamala, they're gonna forget these student loans, bro. We're gonna fight. So
right. That's what I say. Same thing. Please forgive them, Lord. Forgive them loans. Everybody, they can hack everything else, but can't hack Sally Mae. I just don't understand. I
don't get it. Number 4. Shout out to the quads.
Shout out to the quads.
Speak to me, quad. They said traveling is not worth the money.
Listen, I want to quote this right because I heard this today while I was listening to a podcast on my way to work. I want to say it was a Black Expat podcast, but he was saying that we don't live to survive, and we don't survive to live, but we live to experience. And to say that traveling is not worth it, y'all know my motto: life is all about experiences, right? And the only way you can do that is to, it might cost you a little money, but every place I've gone, I've said it's been worth it, right? All the money that I've put out, the times I had to draw back and eat some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches until we got ready to go on the trip. It was all worth it. Listen, every flight I booked, every excursion that I've gone on, for me, it's worth it. For somebody to say that traveling is not worth the money, maybe you need to reevaluate the places that you've been going or the people that you've been going with. It may be not even a money thing. It might be the experiences that you're having with the group of people that you're going with. because I've never heard anybody who has traveled come back and say it wasn't worth the money. Maybe maybe an excursion, excuse me. I promise you, I do have a college degree and I know how to talk, and so it may be a single excursion, but the overall trip, nah, I can't. I don't know if I can support that one, John.
I concur. I concur. Yeah, agreed. And I think that's it's worthy to note at the end of the day that your trip is going to have ups and downs,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just when you look at it like just be prepared for something to go wrong, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like that's a part of traveling. Like something's going to go wrong, and if you can like get that mindset early and often, you'll be fine. And then once you get able to, so you get back home and really think about it, it's like what, I had a lot of takeaways from that trip. It was good. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and don't let one single experience taint your whole trip, right? I know sometimes with traveling, the airfare or the airline, the flight there sometimes can be unpredictable. They might get delayed. You might have a bad experience with the ticket agent or somebody who worked for the airline. You might have a bad experience trying to check into your hotel, but don't let that one single event like damper your whole trip, right? Because so much more is good about the trip than what went wrong.
Big facts. All about mindset. Numero cinco. This is a big one though. I can't travel alone.
As long as you keep waiting on somebody, you're gonna be waiting forever. Sometimes, right? I get like some people, solo travel is not their thing, right? Um, that's why you got to make sure you got to know who your friends are, right? You got to know, like I know if I call Joc, if I call one of our other line brothers and say, "Yo, I'm thinking about going here," they're like, "What's up? When we going? How we gonna make this work?" Right? You got to know if traveling alone is not your thing, right? But don't let that be a hindrance though, because some of the best trips I've taken have been by myself. Because you meet people. The good thing about travel is that you meet people while you're on your journey, right? Whether you stay in a hotel, whether you stay in a hostels, you're more prone to meet more people, or at a resort that may be all inclusive or something. You're prone to meet more people while you're on the trip, and you make connections, and y'all might end up hanging out. So you necessarily may not be by yourself. So don't let traveling alone. And I get it. For some people, it might be safety reasons.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, they just don't like to be alone. So if you want to people don't want to travel alone, find you one or two people, right? One or two people, 2 or 3 people is a lot easier to try to plan a trip with than a group of like 5, 6, or 7.
Oh my
So,
God. I'm so glad I'm over that. Like, because I think like like early 20s for me, it's like I gotta get all my friends together on this trip for my birthday and do this and that.
mm-hmm.
And it's like, bro, that shit a headache. Man, like give me 2, 3 people, a small group, go out there and have a vibe, just saying, have a good time and really just enjoy to the company. Like I think that turns out so much better than trying to lug a whole bunch of people on these trips,
Yeah,
But I will say this is that in 2019, like I took my first international solo trip to Cuba, and it was because people had dropped out of the trip for my birthday.
mm-hmm.
And I ended up making a decision. I toyed with myself, saying for about a week, but I ended up going. And one of the best trips I ever taken, met some lifelong friends who I still am in touch with until this day. And so
Yeah,
we still keep contact with each other. And so like if I'm ever in Cuba, like we good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so just doing stuff like that. And even it doesn't have to be international. Like, hey,
mm-mm.
like sometimes we talked about sitting by yourself. Like it could be a day trip. Hey, I'm gonna drive to the coast and go to the beach and just sit out here by myself and be by myself for a day, right? Start there. But
Yeah,
definitely like solo travel will really open you up to a lot of different things about yourself for real.
definitely. I definitely so I'm trying to get my thoughts together, but even if it's by yourself, like you said, just get in the car. I remember one time I went to like this spiritual renewal center up in Idlewild, California, the mountains, just chilling, right? And one time I went to a music festival. I wasn't supposed to be by myself, but it was a hurricane that was supposed to come through on the East Coast, and they couldn't get a flight out, and so I ended up being by myself. But it was like one of the dopest times, right? Like I'm in Denver, having the time of my life at Grand Doozy. Shout out to Grand Doozy, who only did a one festival, and them people in Denver was like, no, it's too much noise. They messing up the golf course where the music festival happened. But I think there's joys to traveling solo, right? As much as there's joys to traveling with a group. And so you just gotta figure out what works best for you. Don't be afraid to take that solo trip though. I think that also stops a lot of people because they're just afraid to travel by themselves.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I guess number 6 is something that some folks will talk about. Is that we're at the age where folks are having kids, right? So if you got kids or you've gotten married, people will use that as a reason as why they can't travel, right? And I think I have some friends who have kids and have gotten married, and they still find ways to make it work. One of my close
Right.
friends, she's always on the trip with us, and she got a kid, she's married and things like that, but she makes it work. Like, hey, as long as you give me enough notice, like I'll find some people for it, saying to make sure I got childcare and make sure everything at the house is taken care of, and I'm out. That's all I need, right? And so
Yeah.
I think like you said it before, it's all about the priority piece, right?
And priorities, but also if you got small children, don't wait till they get like super old to start traveling with them. Start them off young, right? There's a lot of all-inclusive family resorts that you can go to at Disneyland, Disney World, Universal Studios. I know, like in Mexico, they have resorts specifically meant for families, right? And so it's started. Look, some trip you might not be able to have like a turn up trip with like that you have with your homeboys or your homegirls or whatever, but take them kids with you. Get them, take a road trip, go to the water park, do something.
No, that's real. Number 7. Shout out to
Good
the
old
Jewels.
number 7. Shout out to
Good
the
old number
Jewels.
7. So it says that I have never traveled before, and it can be scary. What do you say to that person?
If you don't say it, if you don't gather that good old courage, right? You're gonna be saying that same thing 30 years from now. You're gonna be saying, I've never traveled before. Next thing you're gonna look up, you 50, you 60, and you are letting the fear of traveling, hold you down. Some people scared to fly. I understand that. I remember I was talking to this girl one time, and she said she don't want to fly nowhere. I said, yeah, we're not gonna work out, but you gotta get over that fear, right? A lot of people, once they get on that plane and take that first flight, that's half the battle, right? You conquering fears right there. So you got to be willing to, if you want to travel, take the risk. And not a risk. I don't want to say it's a risk because it's not a risk. Take the chance.
Yes, sir.
Take the chance. Book that trip. Start small, right? We've been saying that this whole episode. It don't have to be a whole trip over on the other side of the world. But start small. Start right there in whatever state you live in, right? Like, say, for granted, I live in California. I can take a drive to Vegas. I can go fly up to like Lake Tahoe. Start small. Go rent a cabin. They got these cabins called getaway cabins. Rent a cabin. They got some sprinkled out throughout the country, and do a weekend trip there. Just test the waters before jumping all the way in, just so you can see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And if you haven't traveled, connect with people who can kind of take you up under their wing and just show you the ropes. And so when you are out and about and you finally take that international trip or that whatever trip, Look, they there to walk you through the process. This is what's going to happen when you get to the airport. This is what you need when you get to the ticketing counter. You need your passport. You need all this stuff, right? They can even walk you through if you don't have your passport, like I talked about in the last episode. And if you ain't already applied for that passport, what are you doing? But they walk you through that passport, and I still ain't got my passport, by the way. But we hang tight for the next episode, and I'll give you another update. Hope I didn't have it, because if not, I'll be crying and I'll be sick, because everybody else gonna be in Greece and I'll be here in the States. But that ain't gonna happen. Hopefully it'll be here next week. But yeah, take the chance. Take the chance. How you feel about it, Joc? Because we've all been there before. Right. We've all been in this place. I've never traveled anywhere before. The only way to get over that is to do it. What Nike say? Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. I think you graced the mic eloquently today, man. And I don't have anything to add to that, because I think everything that needed to be said was said, right? And that's dope. I think we covered a lot today, right?
Yes, sir.
We've been moving and shaking. You know, I was in Puerto Rico. Life is moving us around in different places. There's a lot going on in the world. And then we're talking about folks taking that PTO, right? And so
take that PTO.
Take your PTO. If there's anything that you take away from the day, fuck that job. No, I'm just playing. You know,
right?
Pay your bills, nothing like that. But no, understand, like you can when you bring a certain caliber to the table, and you work hard, reward yourself, and that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Matt, what you want to lead the people with, man? You know, we talked about a lot, but what do you want to lead the people with today, brother?
Man, first of all, take that time off. Right? And while you're taking that time off, maybe you drop you a wandering tip of the week. Perhaps you want to take that time off. You're not too sure where you want to go. You're not too sure how you want to plan it, or what you want to add to the itinerary. And perhaps you're not even really ready to branch out and go outside the country. Today, the wandering tip of the week for today is there's a company out there who is called Pack Up and Go. And Pack Up and Go plans trips around the United States. All you have to do is decide how you're getting to your destination, your number of travelers, complete the pre-trip survey, and tell us your budget. It don't get no easier than that. So listen, you're looking for somewhere to go, and you don't necessarily, they specialize with trips here in the United States. So if you're here in the United States and you're listening to this and you like, I need to go somewhere, but I'm not really sure how to plan it. I'm not really sure how to put it together itinerary. Listen, hit up Pack Up and Go. Their website is packupgo.com. Hit them up and let them, you get them your budget, how many people going, and you can probably pick what areas of the country that you're interested in going to, and they'll plan it for you. So that's our wandering tip of the week. I mean, I'm considering like hitting them up like to see what they're talking about.
Facts. Free game alert. It's free game out here.
Because it's a lot to do even here in the United States, right? There's so much beauty in the country. I know we see all about LA's, New York, Miami's, Texas, all these things, but it's so much. Like, go to a national park. I know that's another tip. I'm giving too many, but you can buy a pass to all the national parks for a year for $85. You buy that pass and you can go get into each national park throughout, and whoever's in your car can get in too without break, because you have to pay per car. So get that pass, $85 for the year, and you can hit all the national parks in the United States. And start there, right? Start there, or go to a state that you've been dreaming about going to. But take that time off. You work so hard, and you deserve it, right? That's one thing I try to tell people. You deserve this time off. You deserve it. You work, first of all, you working for it. It's your time. It's time you put in. So go ahead and treat yourself like Joc said. Take that time off, bro.
Take that time. Well, speaking of time, it looks like we're about at time.
We didn't hit our hour. It's time to go. The travel hour done went over a little hour. So it's about that time to pack up. Look, pack up and go. Let us trying to pack up and go. But we definitely appreciate all of y'all for tuning in today. Man,
Where can they
episode
find
2,
us
bro.
at? Where we at? Let them know where we at. Episode 2. Where can you find it
Listen,
at?
as you are scrolling through your phones and on Instagram, you can follow the Travel Hour at the @ the THEE Travel Hour. Follow us on Instagram. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. We're still working out the YouTube piece, but hopefully we get that up there soon. But you can follow us on YouTube at the Travel Hour as well. And we will look forward to, yeah, man. Follow us so y'all can stay updated. Joc, how can they find you on Instagram?
Yes,
On
sir.
social
So you can
media?
find me they can find me on the gram. Pull up on me. I'm on the gram.
Pull up on me.
Pull up on me at the Zix_Zixter. So THE_ZIGGSTER. Follow your boy. I follow back. But definitely tap in with us.
Yes, sir. And you can find me on Instagram as well at according to TO, not the number, MP. You can find me on Instagram. You can follow me on YouTube. I promise y'all, I'm gonna start putting more content on YouTube. But follow me at Matt P, MATT space P period. Or you can type in the hashtag the Wandering Ape. You can find me that way too. But yeah, man. So shout out to all y'all. If you have stuck around to hear the entire episode, you are the MVP. I want you to know that. You're the MVP. We appreciate you. We appreciate you, bro. We appreciate you, Joc. I appreciate you. As always, be on the lookout for new episodes as we gear up to go to where we're going? Amsterdam. We're going to Milan, Italy, and then we're going to Santorini, Greece. And we're gonna try to take y'all along visually through social media. I don't know if we're gonna be able to have time to podcast while we're out and about, but we definitely come back and talk about it and share experiences in the next episode of the Travel Hour. So with that being said, take that time off, explore the world, and let us know. Listen, if you're watching or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a review and tell us how you like today's episode. And be sure to follow the podcast. Joc, you got anything to leave the people with?
Hey, man, take that time off and do your thing. You deserve it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, the Travel Hour, we're signing off. I'm Matt. This is Joc. Thank you for tuning in. As always, keep your head up, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Travel Hour. Signing off.